Welcome back on your Friday morning. This Sunday's big game is a day to gather with friends, eat some delicious food, have a few drinks, and cheer on your favorite team.
But unfortunately, accidents sometimes happen, and that can be costly to the homeowner. Joining us right now, Wesley Green from State Farm. Great to see you.
Good morning.
All right, a lot of people having Super Bowl parties at their homes this weekend. What should I be concerned about first without killing the party?
Great question. You know, one of the things the homeowners probably need to do is just think about some things that may surprise their guests on their property. So they want to make sure, you know, any steep steps, things that may bump their heads, make sure they've got adequate lighting outside and around their house, you know, when their guests arrive and depart.
What do you guys see? I mean, you don't think, this isn't the top of your list, you're thinking you're going to have fun and whatever else. You don't want to think about the negative. So as insurance agents, what kind of claims come in after a party?
So great question. You know, one of the things that we see, you know, is you want to make sure that your homeowner insurance is covered adequately. So you've got your property coverage, or the claims that come in as well. Actually, in 2010, there were 40% of the deaths after Super Bowl parties were from drunk driving. And so that's one of the claims that we have seen in the past.
All right, so here's the thing. If I'm hosting the party, somebody drinks too much, goes on the road, can I be held liable for that?
There's a possibility that you could be held liable in civil court. So your homeowner's insurance is there to cover bodily injury, property damage, and also if you were to get sued possibly in civil court for something that happened at your place.
Wow. Is it true that if somebody comes to the party already drunk, don't let them in? I've heard that before.
That's very possible. Yeah, that might not be a bad thing to do.
All right, and talk about fighting. You know, people get really riled up. What happens if a brawl breaks out at your house?
Well, you want to make sure that you prevent as much of that as you possibly can, right? But yeah, you don't want to. But again, your homeowners, make sure you got the adequate liability coverage there, though, for sure. Even if you rent a home, though, you still need to get your own liability coverage.
What if you don't have insurance to cover any of this? What can happen to you?
Then it's coming out of your pocket.
And we're talking a lot of money, potentially.
Oh, very much. I think the average lawsuit begins around $500,000.
Really?
Wow, that's the average in this day and time.
And the real thing, too, is make sure the place is safe, because it's a slip, it's a fall. That's the real problem, right?
Right.
Okay. We'll join you again in the next hour with some more tips.
Thank you.
To make sure that your Super Bowl party is safe.
As long as they don't invite us, right?
As long as we are not invited together. Polarizing.
This Sunday's big game is a day to gather with friends, eat delicious food, have a few drinks, and cheer on your favorite team.
Unfortunately, accidents sometimes happen, and that can be costly to the homeowner. So joining us this morning is Wesley Green with State Farm to tell us how to protect yourselves. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, what is the biggest thing we need to look out for if we are hosting a Super Bowl party? The number one thing.
Well, you could have events at your house, liability things that you need to watch out for, like somebody slipping or falling, or you could have things like food poison accidentally need medical attention, or you could have somebody that possibly leave your house that has been drinking a little too much and could have an accident.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, so we've got the food here, and let's say I provide the food. And, you know, maybe it gets left out a little too long. And, you know, we get caught up in the game and time gets away from us. Somebody eats it, they get sick. Really? I could be responsible for their health care bills?
Yeah. Well, your homeowner's insurance, you need to talk to your agent and make sure your homeowner insurance is going to cover some bodily injury, which if they got sick, possibly that could be some bodily injury, some property damage, as well as some civil lawsuits if something were to happen if they left your house.
How much money are we talking? How much can people sue you for if one of these things goes awry?
You know, there's statistics out there that could be up to like $500,000, average $500,000 lawsuit from that. So there was actually
$500,000.
So the time I got sick at your party, I could have sued you for $500,000?
Too late now.
Statute of limitations.
There you go.
No, this really is something that people need to know about.
Right. They need to make sure and talk to their agent, make sure they've got the right coverage on it. There's even a statistic that came out after the Super Bowl in 2010. There were 40% of the vehicle-related deaths were from drunk driving.
40%. Wow.
40%.
So definitely be responsible at your Super Bowl party. What about fights? You know, people get really into the Super Bowl, we know, and especially if they've been drinking a little bit.
That's right.
All follow under the same category?
Yes. So fights, again, that goes to bodily injury. And again, it would have to be determined from lawsuit or something like that, but you want to try and have all the same team at your house.
But you don't necessarily have to be involved in the fight, just provide the place for it.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So keep your guests under control, I guess. Wesley, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
Keep ourselves under control, too.